Okay, Balara, what's your lead on getting us a Fade expert for the team?
Good evening.
Greetings.
Rook! So, we need a Fade expert. I've been writing to a senior mage who fits the part. But right now, he's on an expedition, so I reached out to his colleagues to find him. This is Lady Myrna and Vorgoth. They're necromancers. Mournwatch ones, I mean.
Your friend's request for a Fade expert was urgent. How darksome are things outside Navarra?
We've seen terrible magic. Old magic. It'll get worse unless we step up.
I see. Balara's correspondent is Professor Emmrich Veilguard, a Fade expert and powerful psychagogue.
You will need him.
Where can I find him?
The professor is currently delving the shrouded halls in the Grand Necropolis. We will grant you passage to look for him. Where the dead. Lately, they grow restless.
This is it. But no sign of the professor.
I hope he's here and that he doesn't mind us disturbing him. He is a senior necromancer. I don't... Oh!
Visitors! What a marvelous surprise! Any trouble with the lift? Our last guests were stuck for hours. Poor souls. Oh. Professor Emmrich Veilguard of the Mournwatch.
Hello, Professor. We've never met. Well, in person, but I've been writing to you.
Balara, my dear girl. What a pleasure. Surely you didn't come all this way just to see me.
Actually, we did. You see, we need a Fade expert.
I'm Rook.
Charmed.
I didn't expect such a warm welcome. Considering.
Please, don't be put off. The workforce is perfectly harmless. I'd be pleased to continue our conversation after I tend to some small business here.
I know it's a lot, but I swear we've seen the blighted elven gods ourselves.
It would explain recent oniric disruptions.
At the least, the implications of what Rook's witnessed are... Ah, thank you, Manfred.
No one ever brings me tea after I slog through a haunted crypt.
My assistant, Manfred. Always thoughtful.
You spoke of danger to the Fade.
The elven gods plan to tear it wide open to get to the blight. And they've already messed with it. Demons, tears in reality. Our team needs a Fade expert.
Many Watchers never depart Navarra. But with events so dire...
I'd be delighted to assist.
It has been many years since you left us.
Well, yes, but elven gods, ancient magics. I couldn't bear miss this. Besides, I've spent my life exploring the Fade and speaking to spirits. If Rook needs an expert, none are better qualified than I.
Only if your assistant's coming.
Manfred? But of course.
Welcome aboard.
Wonderful. I'll gather my things. Come, Manfred.
A third edition of the Unnameable Elements? I didn't even know it had editions.
Oh, it's much improved with the index. Please, borrow it if you'd like.
I'd love to. Oh, Rook, You probably wanted to say hi. Thanks, Professor.
You look moved in?
Just a few essentials. Manfred was a great help with the boxes. What a fascinating place this lighthouse is. What do you make of it?
I think I like it better with a necromancer in the place.
Do you?
Especially one with experience.
I must be sure to live up to expectations.
Did you get the tour yet?
Oh, I've been exploring, but I noticed a few of the others taken aback by Manfred, and I overheard remarks about my skulls. My necromancy won't cause any undue worry, will it?
We're still getting used to one another.
True, and yet...
Give it time. We'll settle in.
Please excuse me. Manfred and I should finish our inventory. Thank you for stopping by. I'm sorry, but I find it completely unnatural.
I don't get why you think cremation's so bad. Everyone outside Navarra burns their dead.
All those lost vessels, fine mansions reduced to ash. Manfred, for instance, how would his wisp have fared if I hadn't given it a body?
Where or who'd you get his body from?
There was no single donor. The arms were recovered from a charnel pit. The ribs were a gift from a dear friend. And Manfred's wisp picked out his own skull from some donations. That was quite the day. He's been fine company during my necropolis excursions ever since.
What does Manfred understand exactly?
Simple things, but he grows. Spirits of curiosity are voracious learners. The more he experiences, the more sophisticated his conclusions. With guidance, of course.
If I say, good to meet you, will he get that?
Manfred's alert to the sentiment, certainly. I encountered him as a wisp in the necropolis years ago. A simple spirit, but so curious. He refused to leave my side.
So, you built a skeleton for the spirit to live in?
Spirits are formed from the emotions and desires of people in the mortal realm. Manfred's wisp came from curiosity. It's these spirits which animate the dead. Their drive revives the corpse, yet the corpse colors their actions. Thus, the eternal question, are undead inhuman spirits puppeting a body, or does some shade of the departed return?
I can't answer that. Can you?
I've come to believe there is a return. I swear I could see it sometimes, Rook. A glint of recognition of something more in the dead.
Hey, that's my sleeve. Are you trying to steal my buttons?
As well as a certain mischievousness. Manfred. Thank you again for coming. My duties include tending to these rites of remembrance. Excellent. Manfred found his way down. Very good, Manfred.
He sounds excited.
I thought we'd start the rites here. A tableau of the dead, commissioned 173 years ago. These lives were flickers against the ages, precious, fragile, and finite. Now they serve as a warning. Don't linger overlong in the gloom. Live with grace and fervor while you may.
No one's going to seize the day for you.
Just so. That one's livelier. Here. Who were you when you breathed above?
This body was a tailor's, a mother's. She laughed carved and taught and wove the robes kings wore when they were crowned.
Tja. Someone must realign her thoracic vertebrae. I hope the novices are inspecting the displays.
Seems disrespectful to abandon something you built.
Precisely. No wonder there's been an uptick in hauntings.
Wait, what?
Let's continue.
Hi. Should I say hi?
It's curious about you. We're also enjoying the gardens, but with one last ritual ahead. On your way, my friend.
Spirits really are your specialty.
I've always had a rapport with them. Even as a child, they were my companions.
After you started training here?
After I was orphaned.
Oh.
A collapsed building, swift deaths. After the funeral, the Watchers took me in.
Belated condolences, if that's worth anything.
Always. We move on, as we must, but those long nights linger about the shadows.
How did you deal with it?
I didn't. When I first arrived here, I was terrified.
And you still joined the Watchers?
They're what saved me.
So you were really afraid of this place as a child?
It wasn't the necropolis itself, but what was draped around it. Have you ever been frightened by the thought of dying, Rook?
Hasn't everyone from time to time?
When I was younger, it happened more often than that. That's when I discovered I possess a great terror of dying. It goes beyond dread. Can't be reasoned with or soothed over. It comes without warning. In the dead of night, sunlit streets, a raw, strangling fear struck somewhere deep past the heart.
That's an issue for a necromancer.
Oddly, I discovered I wasn't alone. I debated this fear with friends. I argued with teachers. Yet, it lingered. Manfred's right. That's maudlin enough. There are struggles, but a Watcher should always find peace amongst the graves. And what sort of host would I be if we didn't end with some light refreshment?
Did you set all this up to make a good impression?
Of course not. I was only...
Because it's working.
Then it's my pleasure to share the tranquility of this place with you. With all my regards. Oh, but I don't want them to think me homesick.
Hi, Emmrich.
Rook, hello. Just composing a few letters. The other Watchers have been most interested in our adventures.
I couldn't help overhearing the word homesick.
Oh, I'm fine. Completely absorbed in our venture. But if I were home, I'd be preparing for new students or requests to speak to the dead.
Can people just ask you to show up for some corpse whispering?
Oh, nothing official. There are very few of us, but we help here and there. Questioning a victim of murder, clearing up disputed wills, and sometimes fetching back last words from a loved one.
You can get anything out of the dead, and they just let you leave Navarra.
My gift has limitations. The dead only know what they did in life. What was clear under the sun is sometimes blurred when I revive them.
Makes sense.
Honestly, some conversations aren't worth the trouble. Death encourages obstinacy.
You didn't stop teaching just to be with us, did you?
I'm long overdue for a sabbatical. Besides, do you know how many students the faculty wanted in my class next season? 10! How's one meant to tailor separate lessons for 10 pupils at a time? Honestly.
Good to chat. I'll let you get back to your letter.
Before you go, I wanted to thank you for your company in the Memorial Gardens. There's another ceremony I have to perform there. If you'd like to visit again. Not yet, but soon.
You know I can't turn down spending more time with you.
How lovely to hear you say so. I'll always be glad to show you around the tombs, my dear. At your pleasure.
I'll take you up on that.
Wonderful. Until then.
Hi, Emmrich. You've got a guest.
Ah, Rook. You remember the Hand of Glory?
Hard to forget. You figure out what those Venatori who broke into the necropolis were doing with it?
The hand is how they broke in. The simpler undead are blind to its bearer when its tapers are lit. Sadly, only a death mage could have provided them with this forbidden necromancy.
If they're helping the Venatori, that has to stop.
Agreed. I've made some inquiries. This man is one of the death mage's victims. If he knows where this rogue necromancer is hiding, my corpse whispering will give us the answer.
That's a bad way to die.
The other watchers are attempting to find his family, at the least. I must warn you, it will be harder to coax answers from this poor man than from the dead I spoke to in the necropolis. Let flame rekindle your sight. Let breath and light rise again.
Who did this to you? Eyes hidden, dust and gold.
Give us a name.
They come for this one. The spirits shriek. They come.
A name?
Blackthorn.
Return to your rest.
Not a flinch. You really know what you're doing.
Experience is the greatest teacher, and an open heart to what the spirits need.
I bet not every necromancer looks so dapper when they're working, though.
You choose the most extraordinary moments for compliments.
Is that bad?
Quite the opposite.
Back to the topic. Does Blackthorn mean anything to you?
Blackthorn Manor is an abandoned country house outside Navarra City. Our victim mentioned spirits. If they've also fallen prey to forbidden magic, they'll need our help as well. Let's depart for Blackthorn when you're ready. I'd like to speak to the necromancer behind all this.
So, Blackthorn Manor. Let's hope that necromancer working with the Venatori is around.
There's a malaise amongst the spirits here. Some form of confinement. This must be the place.
Right. So, why would we bring that?
Oh, it's essential we have the Hand of Glory.
I'm just grateful you know what to do with it.
It's a fascinating piece. The magic laid upon a Hand of Glory is complex. Whoever killed its donor left their mark.
So it'll lead us to whoever cut it off.
Precisely. Most likely the necromancer who's been helping the Venatori. It would have taken extraordinary skill to layer the involutions on this artifact. What a waste of talent.
I like how passionate you are about your work.
Death is one of the primordial forces. It breaks bonds as it lays the ground for the new. At times, there's something stirring about the elegance of it.
It's quite a way of putting things.
I always choose my words carefully. Forbidden necromancy can twist spirits. We must find this death mage and stop whatever they've done to them.
Late as always, Professor.
It can't be.
But what else would one expect from Navarra's most eminent meddler?
Johanna Hesenkos.
You've met?
Oh, the Professor and I have known each other for ages. But only one of us realized the Watchers are no place for a mage with ambition.
So she's an evil watcher. That's great.
Only if she's beyond hope.
Spare me your sanctimonious bleating.
No. The stolen life in that lantern could permanently tear open the Fade here.
Correct. Only the foolhardy would shed blood near it in this state. So, let the Watchers mourn your pathetic death in the Fade, Emmrich Volkaren. Those that are left after my return. So you crawled your way out of the Fade.
It's not difficult for those who treat spirits better than tools to an end, Johanna.
Sentimental drivel. You may have stopped my work here, but Navarra City will know its new ruler.
Look, that lantern's dangerous. Why don't we talk about this?
Dangerous to those who fail to realize what can be done with it! Though the Professor clearly avoided mentioning his old colleague in exile.
We made every attempt to bring you to reason.
I gave you every chance to join me instead of whining endlessly about your mortality. But I must thank you for returning something dear to me. Lovely to have my hand back. I'd exchanged it with the Venatori for some favors after entering this condition.
Johanna, what have you done?
What you never had the courage to.
Oh, the Song of the Chambers won't have anything on what Johanna's... Perhaps the Waking Scrolls? No. Manfred, have you seen the Fellmarch manuscripts?
You and Manfred need an extra pair of eyes for whatever this is?
I suppose it's time I explained this mess. Johanna Hesenkos was a watcher. She was banished for embracing the darker paths of our art. Forbidden magic, blood sacrifice, nothing is beyond her if it leads to power, recognition, or both.
Sounded like you knew her before all that.
We were friends, once.
If it helps, you've got someone who cares right next to you.
That's very dear of you, but I'll be fine.
It's so cute how you're such a bad liar.
Things used to be much better between Johanna and me. She truly was brilliant, and we got on so well as students. We partnered on papers, rituals, research. Yet even then, Johanna considered the Watcher's oaths quaint. This isn't the first time we've crossed paths since she was exiled, but now I fear she's turned herself partly undead.
She made herself half undead? On purpose?
There are advantages to undeath you may not be familiar with.
I'm good.
You saw Johanna's Lantern of Unwilling Souls. A necromancer could create monstrous undead with that much stolen life.
Hesenkos was yelling a lot about conquering Navarra City.
We must stop her, Rook. Thank you, Manfred. Quite right. The Order's knowledge will see us through. Ah, hello there. Just admiring how carefully the Fade is woven into this place, as cultivated as a palace garden.
That's old elven stuff for you. Magic everywhere you look, and also where you don't.
I do envy you, Rook.
Really?
The Lords of Fortune have a reputation as boisterous treasure hunters in Navarra. Not to mention traveling with Varric. The adventures you've already had.
You cut a pretty intriguing figure yourself. Do you really think of me as some grand adventurer?
Well, something thrills at traveling with a dashing young man who's racing to stop an apocalypse, especially if he's shown unexpected interest in a new companion.
You have a very charming way of putting things.
Well, thank you. And perhaps those years at the lectern have proved useful. May I show you something of the greater Fade here?
Go ahead.
Close your eyes. Take a breath. Slow. Deep. Be born on the great currents. See now as they see. When I talk to the dead, their echoes abide with me. Thoughts and passions, hopes and desires. The shades of death have greater depths than you may know, Rook. If your attentions go beyond charming flattery, that would interest me, indeed.
I think they already...
You finished the reagent. Excellent work, Manfred. I must tend to this, but I'd be delighted if we found each other later. Now, what do you have to say for yourself?
Did I miss something?
Since we're here to gather flowers for the dead, I thought I'd teach Manfred some plant names. But I just caught him attempting to wade into a rose bush.
That must have been frustrating.
He knows he's not supposed to play in the horticulture. Oh, Manfred. Whatever will happen to you if I pass on?
If?
There's something I'd like to talk about. Do you know what a lich is, Rook?
Doesn't ring a bell?
A lich is a mage transformed into one of the undead while retaining their true, original consciousness. The idea fascinated me when I was younger. For years, I researched and experimented, spoke with spirits and mages. Then, eventually, I found them.
Who?
The Lich Lords of the Grand Necropolis. Necromancers before me who'd transformed themselves into true living dead.
Not everyone gets to meet their idols.
Oh, but I was nervous. The Liches are the great protectors of the necropolis, bulwarks against forces that threaten creation. After years of tests and rituals, they granted me my desire, the right to attempt lichdom.
Hold on. If you become a lich, then all this flirting we've been doing...
I should hate to lose your company while I'm still mortal.
What would you being a lich be like?
A vast leap. Flesh cast aside for bone, returned immortal for all time.
So, if we keep flirting afterward, you'll be a skeleton?
If we what?
Not ruling it out, just asking.
Oh, I'd inform you before making any decisions to... questions of lichdom are... Lichdom is an incredible honor. Immortality, prestige, the most hallowed ranks of the Watchers, as well as a chance to be of service past my allotted years. But there are considerations.
So, what's holding you back from lichdom?
Even with all my preparations, there's a chance I could die, permanently, during the rites. What cowardice! A promise of immortality, an end to all my fears, and the final veil stays my hand.
Emmrich, you've spent your life preparing for this, and it could still fail.
You say nothing that hasn't hounded me. Traditionally, candidates for lichdom face one final sifting of the soul. If they avoid it, you saw my old colleague.
Hezenkos? She's a lich.
A half-lich, though that hasn't diminished her powers. Until I stop her plans, I won't possess the peace of mind for lichdom.
In memory of Rupert and Eleanor of Volcarin. They walk eternity hand in hand.
After I became a Watcher, I erected a proper shrine to my parents. When I come to talk, I like to think they listen. Well, don't be shy. Introduce yourself.
Rook, it's a pleasure. Do you remember your parents?
Some memories are bright. Others are akin to those dim, early morning dreams one gets sometimes. Lately, I wondered what they'd think of our current course, the choices ahead.
Your lichdom.
What would they have wanted me to be?
Happy with someone who cares for you.
Shroud's Kiss. I've always loved the legend around this flower. They say it grows on lovers' graves, and that one moves closer to the Fade simply by inhaling its fragrance.
Is that true?
It is when I will it, my dear.
What else?
What a day of unexpected splendor. How did you find everything?
Best meal I've had in a graveyard.
One advantage of being senior staff is requisitioning the kitchen's better cooks.
You did that just for me?
I'd hoped the evening might impress. The amount of work on you worries me, Rook. Responsibility exacts a toll on the body.
I have been more tired lately.
More so than you might even realize. I do ask that you at least avoid putting pressure on that stiff left wrist.
It's a little stiff. Impressed you spotted it.
Well, I am familiar with the finer points of anatomy. It's good we made time for this. A couple should get to know one another in comfort.
Time to dig into our feelings?
I'd be delighted if the mood moves you.
Devastating charm aside, what do you like about me?
Apart from the compliment of your interest?
Come on.
Darling, it's gratifying a fresh-faced adventurer noticed me at all. And your spirit does charm, but there's also something quite indomitable about you, Rook. It inspires.
Oh, thanks. What's your favorite color?
Well, can I only choose one?
Let me guess. Black? Green? Yellow, but like, bone yellow.
Lilac.
Of course you went to a flower.
It's such a pretty shade of purple. It brings thoughts of spring. And what's your favorite shade of color?
I love gold. And it's also my favorite color. Between the two, I was always probably meant to be a Lord of Fortune.
Well, the Lords suit you. I can't imagine where else you could have sprung from.
Okay, so, Emmrich, I wanted to tell you something. You're my first... anything. I've never been with anyone. Romantically.
We can move slowly, and I'm glad you chose me.
It's been good so far.
Oh, excellent.
Anyway, should we enjoy the garden?
Certainly. They're wondering what we're up to. Wisps are ever attracted to the gardens.
Like you?
The Fade is close here. As our spirits I count as guides and friends. Beyond that, I feel there are mysteries past our comprehension. Something beyond the weft of magic or deepest Fade. When I'm fortunate, I spy suggestions of them here.
You're so philosophical around flowers.
It's the purpose of the gardens, to lift our thoughts to something higher and finer than we are.
Like that?
Sometimes, my dear, I think you indulge me.
When I'm in the mood. Anna, hello. I assume Vorgoth's not far
We have her, Rook. We have her. We know exactly what she's planning.
The professor asked us to research the artifact that came into the possession of Johanna Hezenkos.
She carries a gloaming lantern.
That bad as it sounds?
They were fashioned in ages past by unscrupulous necromancers. The lanterns steal and concentrate life.
Johanna could use it to leech life from hundreds at a time. An endless source of power.
Sounds overcomplicated and like it could blow up in her face.
Oh, there's nothing Johanna will not risk for her ambitions. But we've found her.
She has returned to Blackthorn Manor.
Hezenkos intends to hold a soiree.
That can't be her whole plan.
No, but I propose a small group infiltrate Johanna's lair while she's distracted and destroy her lantern.
Let's do it.
Vorgoth and I must return to the necropolis.
Hunt well.
If only we could make Johanna see reason.
You tried before. She seems stubborn.
Perhaps that's why she attained immortality, while I quake on the threshold. If I make my own bid for lichdom. Oh, it's no use pretending this hasn't stirred up that old dread of my own mortality.
I'm always here to talk about it. You know that, right?
It's a comfort, darling. Truly, but... Oh, Johanna was never beset by these sort of fears.
Little fear's healthy. You'll feel better once we crash her lair and destroy that lantern. Promise. Okay, so the plan is basically to sneak around, find Hezenkos' lantern, and smash it. That's quite a crowd over in the manor.
Johanna's gathering. If she's mingling there, we'll be spotted. Fortunately, we have someone who could pass as a servant.
You don't think he'll stand out?
There'll be other undead servants. I'd be surprised if Johanna recognized him. You know, she never truly appreciated Manfred's cleverness. Right, Manfred. You're to find Johanna's guests and help us gather information on where her workshop might be. We'll be watching in case anything occurs.
Something's going to occur.
Once we find and destroy Johanna's lantern, we'll end whatever she's planning. Hopefully before she introduces the lantern to her guests. Oh my! A body from the House of the Verheims, prepared during the Storm Age.
You're adorable when you get excited about things like this.
Well, who wouldn't be, darling? Such a rare find.
Time to find Hezenkos. He's all yours, Emmrich.
By flame and seal, by light and flood, open your eyes once more.
Who dares disturb?
Friends to the dead.
Friends, this one was abandoned, lost.
Emmrich, it's getting noisy.
He's unusually obstinate. Speak! Where is Hezenkos?
Prove yourselves. What claim have you to the deceased? A willing dead companion. This one concedes. Hezenkos makes a thing that should not be. Red tapestry. Look there.
Rook, did you hear that? Manfred just...
I know. Also, we should move.
What's that, Volcaran? Afraid to chance death for your precious spirits? For all your fine words on the subject, only I had the courage to risk my life for our art.
He's still got twice your backbone.
I see Volcaran somehow did net himself a paramour.
Johanna! Listen to me! You're right! I've never overcome fear of that final dark. I miss having a friend that could.
Yes. Always the idealist.
I'm sorry Lichdom failed you. I swear I would have helped you had you come to me. But puppeting this creature...
Puppet? Puppet? Do you think I'm staying a failed lich? I won't command my greatest creation! I will become it! Scoffing colleagues, interfering Templars, inept rivals. You all have a place in my heart. And tonight you will fuel my ascension at the cost of your miserable lives.
Move! You can't free the spirits in that lantern.
It might kill me and not even work. No living thing can approach it and... Manfred! Come back!
Any last words, Volcaran, before I... You miserable little...
Manfred!
Manfred knew you could do this. So do I.
By the spirits bound here, night and shadow, light and blood.
What are you doing?
Let your chains loosen. Let the fade draw close.
You'll never succeed, you old fool!
I release you to the air.
No! You small-minded...
Emmrich, how's Manfred holding together?
We must go to the necropolis. His body could only take so much. But I underestimated him, Rook. What bravery in the heart of the dead. And how he grew. Manfred disobeyed me beautifully. He was his own soul at the end.
Can you bring him back?
I will ask.
Emmrich Volcaran. You were not expected so soon.
If I can do anything to help.
Thank you. But this must come from me. My lord, I come regarding Manfred, my fallen companion.
Yes, there are ways to return his spirit. But should you do this, Lichdom falls from your grasp.
What? Why?
Lichdom is long. If I'm to stand outside death, I must make peace with others passing through it.
What would we otherwise become? How many exceptions till tyranny? Revive him and remain mortal. Or let him slumber and join us.
Emmrich.
Manfred chose to help us. Am I too weak to accept his well-earned rest? I yearn for Lichdom Rook, that leap into something greater, that everlasting light. Do I revive him and live out my days? Or do I honor death by letting him rest and protect this world through immortality?
Mortality's a hard price, but you'd miss Manfred.
Oh, of course I would. But a Watcher should be more accepting of loss, of grief, of his own death in turn.
You're braver than you know, Emmrich. You've always risked your life. Against Hezenkos, against the gods.
Death's abyss always recedes with someone to brave it for.
I think facing a lot of things would be easier if Manfred was back.
Oh, he was fearless. He has so much potential, Rook. So far to grow.
Then help him do it.
You're absolutely right. I'll need your help. Rest easy, Manfred. We'll soon have you back amongst the living.
Okay, Emmrich. How's this work?
We'll need assistance finding Manfred's wisp and drawing it back into his body. By pact and pledge, I seek an audience. By light and breath, let wisdom come. You've met these spirits before, but I've never properly introduced you. Rook, allow me to present two Necropolis Guardians, the keepsake of ages and far-sighted curio.
Thank you both very much for helping with Manfred.
How polite. How fine.
Good manners in mortal kind, beyond the spirit callers at last.
Friends, my assistant, my ward, Manfred, sacrificed himself to save us.
We'd heard you'd abandoned Lichdom to bring him back. Your work, your dreams.
You paid the price. But it seems there are many flickers of curiosity in the Fade.
And only one you seek. Draw his wisp near. Speak.
Can I help?
Yes, please. Think of Manfred. Tell me something you felt about him. Concentrate.
I was always surprised Manfred survived what we dragged him through. I don't think it was just because he was all bones. I think that's just Manfred.
In the sea of the Fade, there are wakes left by our passing. Our desires, our fears. I leave this beacon for you, Manfred. Follow my voice. Return to me, please. Manfred?
It worked.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful indeed.
Thanks for stitching that seam on my coat, Fred. It was coming loose. And nice new threads yourself.
Thank you.
Yes, we needed something to mark him as an apprentice around the necropolis.
It's a good fit. See you around.
Yes.
How are you doing, Manfred?
Alive.
He's excited for his training. Manfred's spellcraft is coming along nicely, more or less. Some undead have the potential to cast magic. I believe his was unlocked by his journey through the Fade.
What was that like?
Dunno.
You mean you don't know?
Dunno.
We must work on that enunciation. Why don't you fetch the primer?
There goes our magic-flinging skeleton son.
Well, I wouldn't go so far. Certainly I've a responsibility to educate him, and he'll need moral guidance. Most spirits do. But did you know, yesterday he said the most amusing thing while...
He's got your eyes.
As he grows, Manfred will better learn to take care of himself. I won't worry so much when I pass on.
How do you feel about that last part?
I have moments of regret for what Lichdom might have been. But none would make me exchange this for anything.
Elgar'nan.
While you gather your people, I will find the Inquisitor. And Rook, I wish you great luck.
Darling, I'm just finishing reviewing my bequeathments. It made me consider a topic I must broach. The eve before we kill a god, my thoughts turn to mortality and what we are to each other.
All right.
Even under the best circumstances, you will outlive me, Rook. You've grown to mean much to me, and I care for you, Rook. Deeply. But there are such years between us, I shouldn't heap you with that burden.
You're breaking my heart by worrying.
Darling, I only wish to be fair to you.
I know what I'm getting into.
At your age?
Don't start.
We must consider this.
You're overthinking it, and it's not the time.
One of us needs to consider my mortality.
Because you're worried about me or insecure about you? Look, let's pack. Eve before we face a god, right?
As you say. Don't start.
The Fade's still ripping itself apart!
The dagger! Rook! You must break its contact with Ghilan'nain!
Lucanis! Lucanis!
And so you have your victory. You live. And Ghilan'nain does not. Are you not proud? We finally reached this moment. Or did you think you'd win the day without some painful sacrifice?
There! A light! We've got something. Get ready.
Get a message to anyone who's still out there. Tell them we're gonna stop Elgar'nan, and we need their help to do it. Then fix up your gear and take care of any unfinished business. In the morning, we take back Minrathous.
Darling, are you certain you're all right?
We've still got work to do. I can collapse when this is over.
Rook, let us send word to all our allies. Your only task for now should be to rest. I hope you're feeling more yourself soon. I'll be back.
Did we have to risk visiting the necropolis?
I needed its subtler enchantments to detect what we must know. There's no mark of the cursed Solus left on you. Darling, I thought I'd lost you forever in the Fade.
I thought so too. It was... I don't know what that was.
A dream. A reflexive curse you overcame with your own reflection.
If you and the others hadn't pulled me out. Know what I kept thinking in the Fade, Emmrich? I wasn't afraid I'd die. I was afraid I'd be there forever.
You're not. You're here with me.
I'm still not sure how I got out or how you all heard me.
There are things in the Fade we cannot circumscribe. I'm grateful it returned what's most dear to me.
I did have someone to come back to.
Rook? I was going to fetch some breakfast. Would you like anything? Come again?
What time is it?
It's nearly dawn. I've been up for an hour.
How come?
It's when I normally wake up.
Of course, you're an early riser.
I like to take my exercise in the morning.
That's nice. Peaceful down here. You could almost pretend nothing's wrong up top.
When I'm with you, it feels as if there isn't.
That's sweet.
I do mean it. Whatever's in store for us, together, my darling, that's how we'll face it.
I know. We could stay here just a little longer.
What are you... If you insist.
Thank you all for coming. If we don't stop Elgar'nan today, our world is either dead or blighted. so we keep fighting until the job is done. It's gonna be hard. There's no guarantee any of us will make it.
We're with you, Rook.
Elgar'nan dies today.
Whatever it takes.
Strife. News?
Our scouts confirm Elgar'nan is inside the Archon's palace. There's a giant tendril of blight tethering it to the Divine's manor in Hightown.
Then that's our goal. Breach the city walls and get to that tendril. Emmrich, can we count on more Watch support?
The Watchers, living and otherwise, will stand with us.
Every remaining Grey Warden will be there too.
The Antivan crows are ready to pay their respects.
And your fellow lords will have your back. For gold and glory.
The Veil Jumpers have been in this since the beginning, and will be there for the end.
Solus is our first target. Without his dagger, we can't kill Elgar'nan.
Our scouts last spotted him working with the Shadow Dragons in the western section of Hightown.
Okay, we go in through Hightown.
But Minrathous was built to hold off an army, even before Elgar'nan fortified it. All the gates will be guarded.
Worse than that. Our scouts reported that the Venatori sealed all the gates with those damn warding crystals.
Can the Veil Jumpers disable them?
Venatori magic won't be a problem.
It's still likely to take time. You may need assistance or someone to protect you while you unravel the wards.
Emmrich, I want you helping the Veil Jumpers.
Of course.
The Venatori at that gate will be commanded by a war mage. That's how they usually operate.
If we get rid of the commander, the rest of the Venatori will scatter. Can the crows cut the head off the snake?
Contract accepted.
There's gonna be a lot of guards between you and her. The lords can clear you a path.
And one of us should be there as well.
Lucanis, how'd you like to kill a Venatori mage?
It would be my pleasure.
One last thing might give the crows some trouble. There's a massive construct tall enough to crush buildings. It's guarding the main gate.
It's called a juggernaut. I've read about them. Giant siege constructs built to withstand an invasion.
We're gonna need our heaviest forces against that juggernaut. Evka.
The Grey Wardens are the closest thing to an army we've got left. We'll do what we can.
The Morn Watch will lend aid, but against something as large as this juggernaut, we'll require further assistance. Rook?
Davrin, you're with the Wardens.
Nowhere I'd rather be.
Alara, Tosh, you're with me. We make a run at the gate, get inside, and find Solus. The rest of you get to the Blight Tendril. Once we've got the dagger, we'll meet you there and take the fight to Elgar'nan. I believe in this team, in all of us. So let's get it done. We go on my signal. For gold and glory!
Focus on the wards.
Oh, it is purest relief to see us all gathered safe and sound. And Manfred would never forgive me if we returned without Nev. Elgar'nan must fear what we might accomplish once we storm his tower.
We've already killed an archdemon and a god. We can do it again.
While Elgar'nan's magic is fearsome, Solus is our true adversary. He is, however, a former spirit. As such, Solus cannot help but listen to appeals to his nature, his yearning for reflection.
I could try talking him down once I find him.
We should depart soon, dearest. How I wish we were already safely home together. I love you, my darling Rook.
I love you too, Emmrich.
Come what may, I will carry those words with me. I'd no idea we'd be drawn together when we first met. No man alive is more fortunate than I. Speak the word, Rook, and I shall stand by your side.
The story of the Veilguard, a team of heroes who stood strong against evil, no matter the cost.
A man seeing his ward become more than he could ever have imagined. There are stories of love.
But those stories aren't over. Emmrich, Lichdom is your life's work. Your dream.
I imagined I knew its price. If I haven't even the strength to accept Manfred's sacrifice, I would outlive you all, Rook.
Would you still remember us?
Always. Kept alive in Lichdom's immortal memory. Death's swift touch, held back for all time.
If you really want to go beyond death, I think you have what you need to let all of us rest.
And peace shall follow. You're right. After I make my farewells, I will undergo the last rites of Lichdom. And Rook, thank you.
Why is it so cold in...
Greetings.
Rook, you remember Vorgoth? We were discussing some preparations for my Lichdom.
I shall be with you until the end.
Collecting your thoughts before the big day?
Mm-hmm.
Lots of them?
I've so much to do. Crafting a glamour, for example. After Lichdom, I'll need an illusion of my mortal appearance for polite company.
Good call.
I've told Harding about the ritual. I'll inform the others afterwards. But there's something I need to speak to you about as well, dearest.
Whatever you need, I'm here.
Where to begin? Lichdom is a transformation of body and soul. A change in how I sense and feel. And I will still feel, but...
What are you saying?
Rook, dearest,
I'm becoming undead.
I know.
When we met, I never imagined you'd be interested in... Then after you were, How can we be together once I go into death?
You're underestimating what we've got.
What are you saying?
Remember when we talked in the Memorial Gardens about how you might be undead one day? I know things will be different when you're a Lich. And weird. Maybe very weird. But I care about you, Emmrich. If you feel the same, we'll figure out the rest. Unless you think you'll be too busy with Lichdom for me.
Never.
What's this Lichdom rite actually like?
I must pass through the gates and meet the oldest forces in the necropolis. A final appraisal of my soul.
Hail the living! Emmrich Volcarin and his chosen witness, Rook, challenger of the gods, Volcarin's beloved.
Collect yourselves for the right.
I'm afraid this is as far as you're permitted. If anything should perchance go wrong, my dearest heart, you are the most magnificent thing to ever happen to me.
I love you.
I love you too, my darling. I am come to be judged by the dead.
Emmrich?
I see so much more clearly now. The deeper eddies of the Fade, the pulse of the necropolis. I have been through blood and darkness, and I have emerged into light.
Emmrich, now that you're... Do you still feel...
Oh, my love, come walk the gardens with me. Thank you for coming, everyone. Please, bear with me. This will be rather difficult to explain. I may appear the same as always, as I stand before you, but I've recently undergone a ritual that...
I thought you'd have a skull face, like a skeleton.
It must be his glamour. It's really something, Professor. I can't sense you're a Lich at all.
Harding?
Oh, no. Was becoming a Lich a secret?
So, the Lich stuff is true, and you crossed that line.
It's been a long day. If you already know about the Lich stuff, maybe we should talk later.
Oh, Harding only told us some of it.
I'm really sorry, Emmrich.
I'm not angry. I'm only disappointed.
No. That's worse.
Just tell me you'll keep your skin on.
That's not how it...
I should take notes.
Look, why don't we just start from the beginning?
Are you satisfied? Yes, I have entered Lichdom, and I am not an abomination, or a demon, or a disconsolate spirit. I have become something more. And yet I am still fully possessed of myself.
So you are a skeleton. Got it.
I wouldn't have helped Emmrich if I didn't trust him to...
Thank you, Rook. But please, allow me. I'd like to think some of us have become friends. I value that more than you might know. But I am changed, and I would never cause you distress by staying where I'm no longer welcomed.
You're no weirder than you were before.
You're still you, no matter what you look like.
You all... Really?
I think you'll be fine.
Okay, now, question time.
Darling, I'm just finishing reviewing my bequeathments. It made me consider a topic I must broach. We face Ghilan'nain soon. When we do, there's no reason you couldn't stay back a ways.
What?
I'll be far more difficult to kill. You needn't face her head on.
First, no. Second, what brought this on?
I can see the life course through you, my love, like a thread of diamond flame. Yet, I will lose you to time, Rook. What if I can't bear that for eternity?
Oh, Emmrich.
Even as I am, the mind is a victim of the heart.
Yeah. You're not great at holding stuff in. But don't mourn me forever. Promise?
Only if you pledge to be a bit more careful.
I can take care of myself.
We're heading into untold danger.
You can't be like this every time we face something big.
How can I not?
It's not my fault you're afraid to see me die.
Rook,
We should get ready. Have to leave soon. Get a message to anyone who's still out there. Tell them we're gonna stop Elgar'nan, and we need their help to do it. Then fix up your gear and take care of any unfinished business. In the morning, we take back Minrathous.
Darling, are you certain you're all right?
We've still got work to do. I can collapse when this is over.
Rook, let us send word to all our allies. Your only task for now should be to rest. I hope you're feeling more yourself soon. I'll be back.
Why'd you look mortal? I thought no one in the Necropolis minds that you're a Lich.
I didn't want to alarm any citizens sheltering down here from Elgar'nan's vulgar display of power. And the Necropolis's enchantments will help detect what we must know. There's no mark of the cursed Solus left on you. Darling, I thought I'd lost you forever in the Fade.
If you and the others hadn't pulled me out. Know what I kept thinking in the Fade, Emmrich? I wasn't afraid I'd die. I was afraid I'd be there forever.
You're not. You're here with me. But you've been through so much these past days. You must need rest.
Emmrich? No, you don't have to hide your face from me.
I will let nothing part us again, my love. Not in this, nor any other world. Rook? Are you awake? It's morning, my love.
You sure?
Far above, the stars have just given way to the sun.
I'm still getting used to you having new senses.
I never expected to hear the stars whisper across the firmament.
I bet. It's so quiet.
The world waits above, but we have some time to tarry.
What should we do?
Whatever you desire.
You can see all these new things, Emmrich. Is there any way I can share that?
It's difficult for the living to dwell long where I am, my love. But, yes, for a little while.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, it is purest relief to see us all gathered safe and sound. We found Nev again at last. I'd feared the search might take ages. Elgar'nan must fear what we might accomplish once we storm his tower.
We've already killed an archdemon and a god. We can do it again.
While Elgar'nan's magic is fearsome, Solus is our true adversary. He is, however, a former spirit. As such, Solus cannot help but listen to appeals to his nature, his yearning for reflection.
I could try talking him down once I find him.
We should depart soon, dearest. How I wish we were already safely home together. I love you, my darling Rook.
I love you too, Emmrich.
Come what may, I will carry those words with me. I'd no idea we'd be drawn together when we first met. I shall treasure those memories into eternity. Come, my love, to battle together.